Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to get Linux onto a virtual machine. Then you can try and play around with it, and who knows, maybe you'll like it more than Windows and you'll end up switching to it. Now you might be wondering, why should you be using Linux? I mean, you already have Windows, it does pretty much everything you want it to, but there are a couple of reasons. For example, Linux is much safer than Windows. You know, when people make viruses or malware, they don't make them with Linux in mind, because if you look at the market share that Linux has over computers just all around the world, I think it's around 3% or 4%, something like that. So barely anyone uses Linux. Almost no one uses it. So it's a lot safer in the sense that hackers don't target it as much, because it's kind of pointless. Barely anyone uses it. Another reason why you should be using Linux is because it's much faster than Windows. When you first install Windows, it has all this bloatware that comes with it. You have the Xbox app, you have a bunch of card games, mobile games. I think it comes with Spotify or Netflix and things like that installed. I know Disney Plus comes installed with it for some reason. With Linux, you get the essentials. It's a very bare bone thing. If you want to get all this extra stuff, you can, but it comes with the essential things. If you go on Task Manager on Windows, you'll see so many random background processes that are just running in the background, and that's what's slowing down your PC when it comes to RAM, when it comes to your CPU usage. With Linux, there's barely anything going on. Linux is very bare bones, but in a good way, because then you have all this free process power to put in other things like programs and games and things like that. I could keep going on about why Linux is better, you know, things like customization. You can make it look exactly how you want, or even the fact that it's open source, so if there's something in your operating system that you don't like, you could just remove it. You could change it however you like. But that's a video for another day. If you want to see that, obviously leave it in the comments. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to the PC, and I'm going to show you how to set it up on a virtual machine so you can try it out. Okay, so now we're on the PC. I'm going to show you exactly how to get a Linux distribution, how to put it into a virtual machine so you can use it, try it out as much as you want. And if you want to switch, then who knows, we might make a video about that too in the future. So anyway, what you want to do is you want to go into your browser and you want to pick a Linux distribution to pick. Now, there are tons of Linux distributions, tons of different versions, but what I would recommend, if you're just starting out on Linux, you're just trying to try it out, check if it's good or not, is to use Linux Mint. Now, I know that's the boring option that you might have seen on YouTube videos. Everyone recommends Linux Mint, but there's a reason to that, which is that it's extremely easy to use. It's very simple to use. So what you want to do is you want to go on the Linux Mint website. We'll leave a link to that in the description. You want to just click on download, and you want to pick one of these. Now, this doesn't really matter. These words here, mate, cinnamon, you might see XFC. These are called desktop environments, which is basically how your desktop will look. As you can see, they all just have different designs, different logos, things like that. This doesn't matter. You can pick cinnamon and then delete it and replace it with matte. You can delete and replace anything in Linux. That's the cool thing. So I would say just go for the cinnamon one. It tries to look like Windows. It tries its hardest to look like that. Click download. It'll take you to this page. Scroll down wherever you're from, try and find your flag or one that's close to you. Obviously for us, we're in the UK, so just use one of the UK servers, and if you just click on it, click save, it'll start downloading. The next thing you want to get is VirtualBox, which is a piece of software that'll actually allow you to run virtual machines. So you want to come to virtualbox.org, we'll leave a link to that as well. Come to downloads, and then just click on Windows Host and download that. Once you have both of these things downloaded, you're going to want to leave the ISO for now. You're going to want to just launch the VirtualBox installation. This will just open up your usual Windows installer. Just click yes, whatever, click yes. And then install it. Once you've installed it, you open it, you have this. This is basically what you're going to use to start your virtual machine. So what you're going to want to do is click new, because you don't have one yet. Here, you're going to want to call it whatever you want. So I'll just call it Mint. It'll automatically detect from the name that it's Linux, as you can see here. Here in the ISO image section, you're just going to want to click down. You're going to want to go to other, find your cinnamon ISO, and then here you're going to want to tick this skip unattended installation thing, because it's pointless and it's very complicated for no reason. So just tick that and then press next. Here you're going to want to pick how much RAM you want to assign to this virtual machine. So as you can see here, I have 16 gigabytes of RAM, so I can, for example, give it 8 if I really wanted to. I'm gonna give it 6 just because it's Mint. It doesn't really need that much RAM. Here you're gonna want to assign how many cores you want to give to your PC. Now the cores that I have on my CPU are actually 12. It's 12 threads, but it will detect it as a CPU because it's a virtual core technically. So I'll just give it 3 for now. I think that's fine. Press next. Here you're gonna want to pick how much space you want to give your virtual machine. Now where the space goes you actually control here. Where it says folder, you're gonna need to pick a folder, press other, go into whatever you want it to be. I have a folder for virtual machines, and select this folder. Your virtual machine will be stored there. So here you is asking how much space you want to give it. I'll leave it at 25 because that's fine. Here it's just going to check a bunch of things like are you sure you want to give it 6 gigs, 3 cores, 25 gigs of space, whatever, blah blah blah. You just click finish. That's it. One thing is that you need to remember to do. You need to enable virtualization in the BIOS for your CPU. Otherwise this will not run. Once you've done that, you need to go into your BIOS, enable that. Once you've done that, then you can come here and you can start this virtual machine. As you can see, it's going to say powering up VM, and it's going to open this little window here. This is your virtual machine. So it says welcome to Linux Mint. This is the installer. You just press enter to start Linux Mint, and that's it. Now you have launched the installer. So this installer acts as if you are actually installing Linux. So in that situation you would have to burn the ISO onto a USB and then boot into it, and you can use Linux and try it out while it's still on the USB before you've installed it on your hard drive. That's something Windows doesn't let you do. If you plug in a USB with Windows on it, it will just launch the installer. You have to install it into your hard drive, then you can use Windows. No. With Linux, you can use Linux out of the USB just to try it out, just so if you don't want to commit to it, you don't have to. So that's what this is. This is just the USB version of it because it thinks you're installing it onto a actual PC, but you're not. But this is what the USB version would look like. It's pretty much Mint. You can try it out. You can just like launch different programs, see what everything looks like, see if you actually want to install it and whatnot. So I already know what it looks like, so we're just gonna install it, then I'll show you kind of what it looks like. And obviously I might do a whole separate video on Linux, just reviewing it, things that it does better than Windows, things that maybe Windows does slightly better, how to set up gaming on it. Definitely in the future I want to do that, but for now I just want to show you how to put it on a virtual machine. Then you can go and explore and do whatever you want. When you launch the install Linux Mint thing, this is going to pop up, so just click English or whatever language you want it to be, continue. Here it's going to show you keyboard layouts, so we're just going to go with English UK, then press continue again. It's a very simple installation. Here it's asking if you want to install multimedia codec, so that is formats. So if you want to install the capability to run video formats and audio formats, you can do that if you want. We're not going to do it because I'm not really going to be using this. This is just for showing you purposes, and that's it. It's going to ask you about the drive layout. So in our case, we're just going to do erase disk and install Linux Mint. This will basically use the whole disk. It'll format whatever's on it and it'll install Linux Mint. Obviously for us it's a virtual disk, it's not an actual one. But say you have Linux Mint and you don't want it to take the whole drive, you want to have Linux and Windows booting up from the same drive essentially, you can go into something else and you can assign different partitions and things like that. It will allow you to in the actual thing, but because this is a virtual machine, it's not giving you that option. If it was a real drive, it will give you a very simple pop-up menu that will let you do that. So we're just going to stick with this, then you press install now. It's going to say, oh, if you do this, then this drive will be reformatted and changed to a different file extension or whatever it's called, and then that's fine. So we're just going to press continue. Here you pick where you are, so they're just going to use this to set your time zone and things like that or whatever. So we're just going to do London. Here you're just going to put your name. It can be anything. Now when it comes to password is quite important. Obviously even if you set it to log in automatically, even if you don't want a password, it's still important that you have a password that you can remember, because in order to install things or do admin related stuff, you're going to need to type this password in to authenticate that operation. So you're going to have to remember that. And then after this, you press continue, and pretty much you're done. I won't yap too much about this stuff. Let's actually get into the operating system and then I can tell you all about it. All right, so once the installation is finished, you're just gonna get this window. It's gonna ask you, do you want to keep trying out in the testing like USB mode? Obviously for us that doesn't apply. Or do you want to restart now and use Linux? So we're just going to restart now. It's going to show you this. Now this also doesn't apply to us. This is for if you're using the USB to install it. It will ask you to move the USB, then press enter. Obviously we don't have a USB, so we're just going to press enter. So it's going to show you the Linux Mint logo. Once you see that, know that you are pretty much done. That's it. You have Mint. You're just gonna have to wait for it to load, and then you can use it. You can use it to do whatever you want. All right, once all of that is done and you're in, it's gonna show you a welcome screen. It's gonna say welcome to Linux Mint. It's gonna like ask you if you want help setting everything up. So if you do, then press let's go. It's gonna say, oh, do you want to set the colors for Mint? You can go ahead and like change that to purple, for example. So now the folder is purple and things like that. You can change this to dark. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Everything else is very usable. You can just do whatever you want, pretty much. You can come in here, right click, you can come into this little window which will let you change your wallpaper. There's a couple pretty cool ones, I guess. I mean, they're all quite nice actually. But yeah, that's it really. Then you have Linux Mint on the virtual machine. You can try it, you can do whatever you want to it. Very cool stuff. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more Linux related videos in the future, or how to do something specific, how to run games, just let us know, and we'll see you in the next video.